They said the ridge was lost. They said the battalion was gone. And they said no one, not even a miracle, could save 381 Marines trapped beneath a dying sky. But that was before she picked up the rifle. Before Sergeant Lila Hart, the sniper they all called Quiet Strike, broke the only rule she'd lived by her entire career. Never act alone. The ambush hit just after dawn. The 4th Marine Battalion had just finished clearing a valley near the coast border when the mountains began to shake. Mortar fire rained from the cliffs, heavy machine guns opened up from hidden caves, and in seconds the battalion was pinned behind shattered boulders and overturned utility vehicles. Communications jammed, command cut off, medics overwhelmed. The valley became a steel coffin. Captain Romer, the battalion commander, crawled behind a crumbling ridge wall, blood on his cheek and dust in his beard. He grabbed the radio even though he knew it was useless. Command, this is Echo Actual. We are surrounded, taking heavy fire. We have wounded begging for air support. Anyone, respond. Static. The only person who heard the call was someone who wasn't even supposed to be listening. Lila Hart sat 3 miles away on an overwatch peak, her rifle resting on a tripod, binoculars pressed against her eyes. She wasn't assigned to the operation. She wasn't part of the battalion. She was simply providing long-distance recon for an entirely different mission. Until she saw hell explode in the valley below. Her heart hammered. Those were Marines. Her Marines. And even if they weren't, even if protocol demanded she stay put, even if command never ordered her, she couldn't watch them die. Lila exhaled, steady and controlled. Quiet Strike, breaking protocol, she whispered to herself. And she shouldered her rifle. The first shot snapped through the mountain air and silenced a machine gun nest no one had even spotted yet. Captain Romer flinched as the incoming fire suddenly shifted. What was that? That wasn't ours. Who fired? Then came the second shot, clean, measured, perfect, taking out a mortar team responsible for tearing apart the battalion's rear flank. A third shot followed, a fourth, a fifth. Enemies hidden among rocks, concealed behind caves, perched on distant ridges, all dropped one by one under the calm, whisper-soft rhythm of Lyra's trigger pull. Marines looked up in confusion. Are we getting support? Who's covering us? Romer peeked over the rock and spotted a faint glint far above the valley. A scope reflecting against the sun. He almost didn't believe it. No one sniped at that distance, not accurately. Unless, tell me that's Quiet Strike, he whispered. No radio response, just another enemy falling. But clearing targets wasn't enough. Not when half the battalion was bleeding out and the enemy closing in. Lyra scanned the valley and saw the wounded, men and women gasping for air, sliding into unconsciousness. She saw medics trying to work under fire. She saw Marines dragging each other behind cover. And she saw something that made her breath stop. A group of 40 enemy fighters circling around the southern path to flank the Marines from behind. If that happened, the entire battalion would be overrun. She checked the wind, checked her scope, checked her heart. Not today, she whispered. Taking a shot at that angle, with that much wind shear, with that much distance, it bordered on impossible. But Lyra had spent half her career making the impossible her routine. Her fingers squeezed. The enemy leader dropped. The others panicked. Some scattered. Some charged forward in chaos. Lyra fired again, and again, and again, working her bolt so fast it looked like her rifle had become an extension of her. Heartbeat. Within minutes, the ambush formation collapsed. The Marines didn't know who was saving them. Just that someone was. But Lyra wasn't done. She packed her rifle, slung it over her shoulder, and sprinted down the mountain. 3 miles of steep cliffs. Loose shale. No cover. She didn't care. Every step hammered fire through her legs. Her breath turned into knives in her lungs. But the sounds, the explosions, the screams, the gunfire, kept pulling her forward. When she reached the valley edge, she saw the Marines still pinned. Enemies were regrouping. Ammunition was running out. She knelt behind a fallen tree, assembled her rifle again, and started picking off the remaining heavy gunners. Then, for the first time since dawn, the Marines heard her voice crackle through their damaged radio net. Echo Actual, this is Quiet Strike. I'm on your valley ridge. Mark your wounded and prepare to move. I'm clearing you a path. Romer swore under his breath. You broke protocol, Hale. Then he smiled through cracked lips. Thank God. What followed became legend. Lyra didn't just give cover fire. She guided the Marines step by step through the valley. She identified safe lanes between boulders. Marked enemy snipers before they could aim. Called out shifting positions. warned them of mines buried in the dirt. Every Marine felt like they had a guardian watching from above. When the battalion reached the extraction slope, the last enemy wave surged from a hidden cavern. The Marines braced, exhausted, outnumbered, barely able to lift their rifles. But Lyra was already there. Perched atop a broken ridge, dust streaking her face, hands steady despite the blood dripping from her scraped palms. "Get behind me," she shouted. And then she fired the single most difficult shot of her life, straight into the cavern's detonator pack. The explosion sealed the cave entrance, cutting off the enemy reinforcements seconds before they reached the Marines. Silence swept the valley. Then the first Marine started clapping. Then another. Then the entire battalion, 381 Marines who should have died, cheered up toward the ridge where she stood. Romer approached her, limping, exhausted, emotional. "You saved us," he said softly. "All of us." Lyra shrugged, wiping dirt from her cheek. "I just did what anyone would have done." But the Marines knew better. Not everyone would break protocol. Not everyone would run 3 miles into hell. Not everyone would face an entire enemy force alone. Only someone who refused to watch good people die. Only someone who believed every Marine mattered. Only Sergeant Lyra Hale, Quiet Strike. In the weeks that followed, her actions were reviewed, questioned, and dissected by authorities. Protocol was protocol, after all. But even the strictest officers couldn't deny one truth. If she hadn't acted, 381 Marines would be names carved into stone. Instead, they walked out alive. And every single one of them signed a letter to command. She didn't break protocol. She honored what it exists to protect. And the message of her story lasted far beyond the battlefield. Sometimes the rules keep us safe. Sometimes they keep us steady. But sometimes, only sometimes, humanity demands we rise above them. Because courage isn't obedience. Courage is choosing to fight for someone else's chance to live, even when no one told you to.